completed her MS OBG, gold medalist, MCH reproductive medicine and surgery gold medalist, PhD reproductive medicine ongoing. She is the scientific director, ART Fertility Clinics, consultant at Chennai. She is the chairperson for Organ Donation Committee, IME, co-opted member, Executive Committee, Indian Society of Assisted Reproduction, Executive Committee member of Tapisar, invited faculty in many national and international conferences. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today. This is one of my favorite topics to talk on. When we talk about the health of women doctors, we often think that when we mean health, we mean exercise, we mean diet, we mean all these other things that you do to keep fit. So there is such a big difference between being healthy and being fit. When we talk about wellness, we have to consider your health from all perspectives, which is environmental, intellectual, emotional, occupational, spiritual, social, and then comes the physical aspect of it. So wellness, it is not just the absence of disease, but it's a harmony of a healthy body and a healthy mind. A well-balanced nutritional diet, physical fitness, lifestyle, as well as stress management in all other aspects of your life. Key factors for wellness is optimum nutrition, balanced hormone levels, appropriate vitamin and mineral supplementations, intake of adequate water. These are all the things that we already know, but when you put it out as a list, I mean, if you can try doing a tick mark of how many things you do every day, you will know how many of these basic things that we miss out on. Adequate sleep, mental peace, a calm mind, enhance detoxification, and boost the metabolism. When we talk about nutrition, this is something I'm going to just rush through because all of us are doctors, all of us know which are the nutritional products to have and not to have. Many of us do not find time to exercise in our busy schedule, but let me emphasize that when we talk about exercise, it does not have to be a gym session or a run session or anything like that. You can just do some basic things like taking the stairs instead of a lift, parking further away, walking to the hospital, getting off the bus a few stops earlier, gardening, taking fitness breaks in between work, walking around in the hospital up and down for a little while if you have a break. And then comes if you find the time to go to the gym, to jog, to do yoga, pranayama. But the first few points is something that I am sure all of us, if we make a conscious effort, we can definitely do it. We know, all of us know all the positive aspects of exercise. So I'm just going to move on to stress management. Women are known as the world's best jugglers. You do have a lot of health issues, and sometimes when your body tells you that you are really, really stressed by your digestive issues, immunity, sleep issues, sudden weight gain, sudden weight loss, all these are indicatives of excessive stress. And it is very important to know that women are more affected by stress than men are. So coming to burnouts, a couple of talks earlier have already covered this, but I want to go a little bit in detail about why. Because when we talk about health, it is more important to prevent this rather than have this and then take steps to rectify it. Burnout basically is loss of feeling that one's work is important, valued, and meaningful. It is defined as an erosion of the soul caused by deterioration of one's value. You feel I am useless, I don't know what to do, I'm not able to manage my day. And why are female doctors burning out? Nationwide, up to 50% of practitioners suffer symptoms of burnout. Annual 2018 Medscape study says that 42% report burnout, and like it was spoken in the earlier talks, it is always higher in women than in men. It's worth noting that men and women seem to burn out also differently. Many of these studies do not break down the burnout by gender, but those who do, they have found that it is significantly higher in women. And women physicians are more likely to suffer from emotional exhaustion rather than physical exhaustion, while men tend to describe depersonalization. Women doctors are more likely to be dissatisfied with their jobs and to take long-term sick leaves. There is a Lancet study which says that for one thing, women tend to tilt towards specialities that pay less and permit more flexibility. but often involves seeing more difficult patients within a shorter period. So in this study last year, The Lancet, Ria Liang and her colleagues interviewed women who left surgical training midway in Australia and New Zealand, and they found numerous factors at work, including impact of pregnancy, unavailability of leave, absence of role models, and a fear of repercussion for pointing out these factors to their superiors. So all of these factors probably work together to produce gaps in both pay and burnout rates. How can we close these gaps? Step one is identification. You have to identify that you are at that stage of reaching a burnout or already in the burnout phase. You have to understand the impact of it and to know how to intervene this. Identifying the symptoms of burnout, there is emotional exhaustion, there is depersonalization, and there's decreased career satisfaction. You start doubting the meaning and the quality of work, fear of mistakes and their consequences. You have loss of emotional resources. You are unable to deal with the patients. You are unable to deal with their work demands. So what contributes to the burnout? Too many bureaucratic tasks. We will see a lot of women having a lot of paperwork when they go to the hospitals. There's a lot of paperwork that is dumped on them. Spending many hours at work, loss of respect from administrators and colleagues, insufficient compensation, and lack of control and autonomy. These are the 5 most important contributors to burnout. And the impact of burnout is not only in their work life, it damages their relationships both clinically as well as personally. Lower patient satisfaction, higher malpractice risk, career dissatisfaction, higher physician and staff turnover because more and more women keep leaving. The top strategies to cope with burnout is something that we need to know. This is what is important for the health of the women doctors. You have to choose wisely. The adaptive responses is exercise remains and always will remain one of the top most response that one should choose when you are feeling let down, when you are feeling emotionally upset, when you are feeling that nothing is working. Trust me, a 30-minute exercise can do wonders to both your emotional as well as physical fitness. Adaptive responses like exercise, sleep, music, talk with friends and family. Things that people should not do but most of them still do is isolation, overeating, eating junk in between work, very bad diet, alcohol abuse and stress. If we see what works and what doesn't work, talking to people, reaching out to other doctors, reaching out to your friends and family remains as one of the topmost along with exercise and sleep. Drawing on decades of research, the report for National Academy of Medicine makes the following recommendation. There has to be leadership and culture. There has to be parental leave, daycare and lactation facilities, career development and wellness programs and interventions. I will just skip to wellness programs. Organizations can support physicians by providing protected time to participate in self-care, activities such as yoga, mindful training and exercise. This is something that can be incorporated in a hospital setup. I know a couple of hospitals who have every day morning the entire staff of the hospital meditates for 15 minutes before they get into their working. Everybody, doctors, nurses, everyone, there is a dedicated time and place in the hospital where when you come in, they have a 15-minute yoga and pranayama session. It really helps in building that emotional strength of doctors. Some providers also facilitate conversations with peers and talks by senior physicians that are intended to make their work more meaningful. Finally, the report argues that healthcare organizations need to do a better job at creating and testing interventions that are aimed at burnout with special attention to women doctors. This needs to start with agreeing on a definition of burnout, consistently including physician demographics in assessment of physical wellness. So I think if we have a hospital where there are many women doctors, probably having an SOP or a set guideline on what should they do if they feel burnout or who they should go to, whom they should talk to, and what are the interventions that the hospital administration and others will take to help them prevent them. Thank you so much.
Next, Dr. Priya Kannan ma'am.